What's in a name? That which we call a rose. By any other word would smell as sweet. Shakespeare's famous line.
Classic.
It really makes you think, though. Are names just labels? Or is there something more to it?
Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today.
Yeah, you wanted to get a handle on what names really mean, especially looking at the source material we have here. And it offers a really different angle compared to how we usually think about them.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Especially when you bring the biblical perspective into it.
So the source suggests our modern take on names, just as identifies as kind of recent.
That's the argument. It links it to Enlightenment thinking. Names became functional labels, sort of separate from a person's core being.
Like, my name doesn't define who I am, it just tells people what to call me.
Pretty much the modern view, yeah.
Okay.
But the source contrasts this sharply with the view you find in the Bible.
Okay, so how does that perspective see names?
Well, in the Bible, names are packed with significance. They're not just random tags. They often say something profound about identity, character, sometimes even prophecy.
Prophecy, wow.
Yeah. And who actually gives the name? That's a big deal, too. The act of naming holds real weight in those texts.
That feels fundamentally different. So we're trying to bridge that gap in understanding, right? Especially when it comes to names used for God.
Exactly. We want to understand this ancient perspective because it sheds light on how the Bible talks about God.
So where does the source start unpacking this for us?
It begins with titles, things that describe God's attributes or roles. Think the Almighty, the Creator, the King.
Like descriptions.
Precisely. Descriptions of his character or power. And the source mentions there are like over 200 variations of these.
200. Okay, so lots of ways to describe God.
Yeah, showing different facets. But these titles, while important, can feel a bit general, maybe?
A little distant?
Perhaps. And that leads to the next concept, title names.
Title names. Okay, what's the difference?
Think of it like this. The source uses a great example. Your father. You might call him Dad. That's a title, shows the relationship.
Right.
But when you call out Dad, that feels more personal, more direct, doesn't it? That's closer to a title name. It's personalized.
I get that. It's still based on the title, but used like a name.
Exactly. And the two main title names for God in Scripture, according to the source, are God, that's El or Elohim in Hebrew, and Lord Adonai.
Okay, let's take God first. You said El or Elohim.
Yes, Elohim is the most common form, and the source points out it appears a lot.
Yeah.
Over 3,000 times in the Old Testament.
3,081 it says here. That's huge.
It really is. But here's a crucial point. Elohim, the word itself, is also a generic term.
Generic. How so?
It can mean God or gods in general.
Yeah.
It's used in the Bible to refer to, well, the false gods of other nations too.
Oh, right. Like the source mentions Exodus 20, you shall have no other gods before me. Uses the same root word.
Exactly. Or Psalm 96, saying the gods of the nations are idols. So just seeing the word Elohim doesn't automatically mean the God of Israel.
It's like the word president could be president of the chess club or president of the United States.
Perfect analogy. That's why capitalization in English translations becomes so important. It's our signal for the one true God.
Makes sense. Hebrew didn't have caps, but we use them to make that distinction clear.
We do. And this title name, God, it's right there from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Genesis 1.1. In the beginning, God.
Foundational.
Absolutely. And you see it throughout. God identifying himself as God, people addressing him as God. It's clearly a proper and significant way to refer to him.
So God is a hugely important title name.
Undeniably.
Yeah.
But, and this is a key insight from the source, it's still a title name.
Still not the most personal identifier.
Right. Think back to the dad example. Your dad's name isn't actually Dad. Similarly, the source argues God tells us what he's the supreme divine being, but it's not his unique personal name.
Okay, got it. It describes his nature, his being God, but maybe not his individuality.
Something like that. It's significant, but not the ultimate personal identifier the source is building towards.
All right. What about the other big one? Lord. Adonai.
Adonai, yes. This one means ruler, master, someone with authority.
And like, God, this isn't exclusive either, right? Humans can be lords.
Exactly. Used for human masters, rulers. And again, English Bibles use capitalization, capital L-O-R-D, when it refers to the divine Lord.
Highlighting his sovereignty, his authority.
Precisely. You see Abraham calling God my Lord, or references to the Ark of the Lord. It emphasizes his dominion.
Okay, so God points to his divine nature. Lord points to his authority. Makes sense.
But here's where things get, well, puzzling, as the source puts it.
Uh-oh, that's the puzzle.
The numbers. Remember, God Elohim, appeared over 3,000 times.
Yeah.
Well, Lord, in the original Hebrew Old Testament, it only appears 459 times.
Only 459. That's way less.
Right. Way less. And get this, only 135 of those times is it used as a standalone title name, like just Lord. The rest, it's paired with something else.
Mm. Okay. So much less frequent than God.
In the Hebrew, yes. But now think about your English Bible. How often do you see Lord? Usually in all caps or small caps.
Oh, constantly, all the time.
Exactly. The source points out that in our English translations, the word Lord appears nearly 7,000 times.
Yay. From 459 instances of Adonai to almost 7,000 uses of Lord in English.
That's the glaring disparity the source highlights.
Whoa. How does that happen? That's a massive difference.
It is massive. And that discrepancy, that puzzle, is something the source flags as incredibly important. It suggests something significant is going on with translation, something we often read right over.
Okay, my head's spinning a bit. That's a huge translation thing to just park for later, but okay. It definitely makes you rethink seeing Lord everywhere.
It does. It's a clue. A big one. So we have titles describing attributes, then title names like God and Lord, more personalized but still somewhat functional. What's next?
Has to be personal names, right?
Bingo. And the source uses a really clear, down-to-earth example.
Yeah.
The author's father.
Right, Cliff LeClaire. Let's break that down.
Okay, so Dad, that's the title, relational.
Uh-huh.
Dad may be capitalized when used as a direct address, that's the title name, more personal.
Gotcha.
But Cliff LeClaire, that's his personal name. It's unique to him. Or even more specific, Clifford Franklin LeClaire. Those middle names nail the unique identity.
It's like a serial number, almost. Only belongs to him.
Exactly, a unique identifier. And the source notes even proper names carry info, like Leclerc suggesting French or Belgian roots. But the personal name is about individuality.
And sharing that personal name, it signifies closeness, right? You don't usually start off calling someone by their first name.
Precisely. There's a progression. Title, maybe last name, then first name. Sharing the personal name is an invitation to deeper relationship, greater intimacy. You're sharing your unique self.
Okay. It's all building somewhere. I can feel it. Bring it back to God.
Right. So just like humans have titles, the God of Israel, title names, God, Lord,
Yeah.
the source makes this central claim.
Yes.
Our God also has a personal name.
A unique, specific personal name. Beyond God and Lord.
That's the revelation. A name that is uniquely his.
Wow. Okay.
And the source material, the book we're drawing from, is basically dedicated to unpacking that. Why that personal name is so vital, how maybe its significance got obscured, and why understanding it again is crucial.
So the big takeaway is understanding this hierarchy. Titles are descriptions, title names are personalized roles, but the personal name, that's the unique identifier.
Exactly. And applying that framework to how God is named in the Bible is key, according to the source.
We started with Shakespeare. What's in a name? Seems like from this biblical perspective the source presents, the answer is a whole lot.
A whole lot indeed. Identity, relationship, maybe even power. It's far more than just a label.
So if God has a personal name and the source argues it's super important, maybe even lost to common understanding and needs recovery, it really makes you wonder.
What are we missing by not knowing or using it? That's the provocative question, isn't it? Yeah. What difference does knowing God's actual personal name make? That's the journey the source promises this strange and meandering tale to uncover the importance of that name. It leaves you thinking. What deeper connection, what understanding of Scripture might be waiting if we grasp the significance of God's personal name? Something to really ponder as you continue with this material.